Hey everyone, I'm Almar of almarsguides.com, and in this video here is technically part 0 of my Valheim building series, where I'm going to be talking about the foundation and exactly how we are going to be building the foundation. So in a few other videos I've made, I've talked about the foundation as far as using iron on the foundation if you want to make a really big building, and I've also made another video talking about the foundation, but I didn't talk about the absolute basics of it, using the hoe, using the pickaxe, and raising/lowering the ground and all of that stuff. So as you can see right here, we got a kind of basic foundation started, and what I want to do is I want to take the foundation more in this direction, the southerly direction. And as you can see, it's not going, like, it's kind of sloping down a little bit. And also, if I take it over in this direction, it's kind of sloping up a bit. So I'm basically going to explain how to fix this and make a good building, despite the sloping. So first, let me collect some stone like that. And then let's look at this area first, the downsloping. So I want to raise the ground as much as possible without actually having to raise the ground. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to equip the hoe, and I'm going to go up to a high part on the ground, like you see right here. See how there's like a little bulge of dirt here? And I'm going to use the hoe from this height. Now this, because I chose this height right here, what it means is I'm going to actually when you use the hoe, it determines where you're standing at that time, determines where it will level the ground to. I think this is the best way to explain it. So because I'm standing on this little bump here, it's going to raise the ground, or more accurately, level the ground to where this bump is that I am standing. So as you can see, it raised the ground around here. Now if I go down to here and I do this and I level the ground, it's going to level it down to where I am standing right now at this time. So since this is a downward slope, I need the ground to be higher. So instead of being at that distance down there, I'm going to raise the ground or level the ground from where I am standing now. Now, this only works to a certain extent. You'll see that it's not level right now. Like I'm trying to level this area and it's not working. That's normal. You can only level the ground so far, at which point you have to take over and you have to start raising the ground instead. So I'm going to show you here a little bit. And these next few pieces, this one's going to be, well, I'm too far from the stone cutter. Unfortunate. I wish I'll move the stone cutter a little bit. I need it for my explanation. So this stone tile is going to completely overhang and may break. It's still marked as blue. I guess because this edge is kind of touching, that's fine. This one's going to break though. Bang. So in order to continue with the stone floor in this direction, I will need to raise the ground. So we're going to take out our hoe and we're going to use the raised ground like that. And you'll notice that it did as it said, it raised the ground. So let me build another workbench real fast because I need to go to the south. You'll notice that basically this whole area is not big enough, not high enough to support our base. So what we're going to do is we're going to find a, let me actually make a raised spot. Bang. So this is a raised spot, and I'm going to use this to level the ground around me. As you can see, it's not enough. There's I can only raise it so far, and this means we're going to have to use raised ground to raise the ground, basically. So let's see what this does. I raised the ground a few times, and let's switch back to the stone tiles and see if it's still. So as we can see, that does the trick, kind of. There's still a little gap below the stone tiles, which I don't really like. But the stone tiles are still getting full support as if they're touching the ground. So let me see if I can alleviate this gap. As you can see, I'm running to the highest spot I can stand on, and we're going to level ground. Now, see these little divots right here? These little darker spots in the ground? This happens when you raise the ground, and it basically just tells you you need to raise the ground one more time to alleviate the little divot. So that's what I did. And now we're going to level the ground again. As you can see, there's still some divots. That's okay, because the ground is perfectly level in this area. So the little divots don't really matter because we're still touching the ground. And that would be how to raise the ground effectively to basically, you know, smooth out your base or to smooth out your foundation. Now, let's say we want to start going in, instead of going all the way in that direction, well, actually, yeah, I can, here. Let's say that I want the foundation, I technically want the foundation to continue in this direction at least once or twice. So this will be a good example too. So as you can see, we're starting, like if I place the next one, it's going to be somewhat under the ground. Let me try to, there we go. And that's no good. That I don't want that. I want it to be level with the ground. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch to the hoe, and we're going to get down on the actual ground here because this is where we want the ground level to. If we stand on top of the stone, it's not going to properly level the ground. It will level it, but it won't level it to the height I want it to be leveled at, which is not good. So this is as far as we can level the ground right now, and it is enough to get these second stones down, but as you can see, any more and we run into that issue again. So let's try to level the ground. As you can see, it's not sufficient. We can level it and we can connect the stones, but it's going to be somewhat under the dirt. So what we need to do is we need to bust out our trusty pickaxe and we need to go to town on the ground. Now, it is worth mentioning there are a few tips and tricks you can use with the pickaxe. If you have to lower the ground decently far, then you'll want to do it like, well, let me try to think of how to explain this. If you are standing on top of the ground like this and you use the pickaxe, it's going to lower it like a small little smidgen. However, if you stand next to a cliffside like this, hey, look, there's a troll in the distance. If you stand next to a cliffside like this and you use the pickaxe, it's going to lower the ground much more significantly. So that was 3 swings and we took away this whole chunk right here. Let's do 3 swings over here and see what it does. 1, 2. Actually, 3 did quite a bit over here because it's not, we don't have that significant of a difference between the ground and where we're trying to lower. And let me kill this troll real fast. Did I hit him or did I hit it? I think I hit the tree by him. I don't want him to destroy those raspberries over there. Don't really want him to aggro enemies from the plains either. He did. Okay. So, as you can see, there are multiple, if we kept going in that direction, we would have to lower the ground significantly because as you can see, it goes up the hill. So what I would rather do is I would honestly rather continue in this direction instead because the ground is much more level. But I am going to have to continue in this southerly direction over here because I would like to incorporate these raspberry bushes into my build a little bit. I would like to put them in like a protective state so I can preserve the raspberry bushes and, like I said, incorporate them into my build. I will probably have them as shrubbery outside of this building. So I will have to go in that direction. I will have to properly protect the raspberry bushes as I terraform the ground around them. So let's look at here. Let me keep using the hoe, and we'll terraform the ground, and we'll address the problems as they pop up. So as you can see, it does start sloping down here. And I can only get so much height on it without using raised ground, which is the same problem we ran into before. So we're basically, the next one's going to break. There we go. Yep. So as you can see, it's not really touching the ground right here. It wasn't for those two. So what we're going to do is we're going to raise the ground right here. And let's see if we can make it any taller by doing this. Sometimes we can, sometimes we can't. It's usually worth trying if you don't want to blow through stone. So as you can see, just leveling the ground made it the proper height we need. standing on a higher lump and leveling the ground, that is. And that is basically the basics of using your hoe and using your pickaxe to make the ground a proper height. Like here, as you can see, we would need to use the pickaxe a little bit more. We can't lower the ground any more than it already is. As you can see, it's still... Was that a... I heard an enemy die. I think it was a skeeter that did it. So let me eat my food in case any death skeetos decide to get a harebrained idea and come at me. So here we have to lower the ground a little bit in order to continue with the foundation. Usually just like 1 or 2 hits from the pickaxe, depending on how far you need to actually lower the ground to continue. And as you can see there, we run into the same issue where, let me see if I can lower it. So no, I can't lower it as low as I would need. I would need to continue using the pickaxe here to lower the ground to the appropriate height that I need. And it's slow moving, but this is the most important part of building a proper foundation for your building. You need to do this before you start actually working on the building, and you need to plan out how you want your building to look within the confines of your foundation. Right now, I am technically laying out the outside of my foundation. This is going to be like the foundation surrounding the building that I make. And what I would do, like let's say that I'm ready to start building the building right now, right? This is what I would do. We already screwed this one up a little bit. This is how important it is for the foundation to be perfect. See how this the stone wall tiles are laid out? In order to continue with it, I would need to go down this way. Now, if I placed a piece here like this, I already fucked up the foundation. Sorry for the foul language. As you can see, this piece connects to the top right here. Or how can I explain this? This piece touches this piece. And, or this piece is, yeah, I mean, I guess it's connected to the top of this piece. And this piece is side by side with that piece, which means they're going to be uneven, which is not good. You do not want that. You want everything to be basically as even and as exact as possible. Therefore, you don't run into complications down the road with what you are doing. So as we can see, that's not, that right there, the ground is a little bit lower than we would like it to be. So let's say this looks like a little, let me see if that raises it. Yes, it did. So as you can see, what I did when I realized the ground wasn't high enough, I found the highest part I could stand on and raise the ground, and level the ground. And there we go. This would be the foundation that I would lay out if this was going to be, you know, my permanent building. And I'll show you what to do after we lay out this foundation. Okay, so say this is how I wanted my building to look. It's a little, technically I probably should raise the ground a little bit over here where you can kind of see below it, but that's fine. This is just, I'm going to tear all this up after I finish the video anyway, so. The next thing we need to do is we need to see if stone tiles fit perfectly within the confines of this building. Or if our floor fits perfectly, and it does. It goes straight across perfectly. So now let's see if it goes down perfectly and stays good. Okay, it does. So this would basically give me the thumbs up and the go-ahead, letting me know that the foundation is stable enough and good enough for me to properly build the building from this point onwards. And those are usually what I check. I'll lay down the foundation, the exact layout that I want my building to cover, which in this case it is, what is it? 1, 2, 3. Well, actually, I can count here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So it would be a 9 by... So it would be a 9 by 7 building, this building. 9 down, 7 across. And that's, it's a little wonky sized building, and a 9x7 would have some complications as far as the roof goes. You would have to use the shingle roof ridges or the thatch roof ridges to make both ends of the roof meet, but that's not that big of a deal. That's what these pieces are designed for in the first place. So, but that is really all there is to it. That is how you would lay down a proper foundation before you start building with stone. And it would work the same exact way with wood. You would just be using a different... with wood, you usually do it like this. You use wood beams. And I don't recommend building with wood once you unlock stone because your building is too fragile with wood. You would do this. Oops. And you would lay out your wood beams such as this to make sure that everything's perfect and the building is, you know, the ground is how you want it, everything's how you want it. And then you would add the floor like I did to make sure that the floor fits, it doesn't overhang, there's no issue with it. There we go. So that's what you would do to test out the proper foundation with the wood floor. Now let me show you what happens if you muck it all up. Like, let's say that I didn't take my own advice while building this, and I decided to, instead of connecting them like this, I connected them like this, like I originally had the first time I showed you. Let's show you what this does to screw it up. Okay. Stone floors. I mean, technically, you already seen what it did to screw it up down there. You can see the gap, but I want to drive the point home. So now we have this. We have that little gap right here, and you could do this if you wanted. Yes, you could put a stone floor tile in there like this, but you have to take into consideration it's going to not look good. Like I can tell that it's not fitting properly because I don't get to see the crack on the other side of this stone floor, and I only get to see half of the stone floor tile. If this doesn't bother you, then feel free to do it this way. This will also complicate the roof a little bit more because instead of, you know, it being a 9x7, it's now a 9x7.5, which it's going to make issues when you get to the roof later. Not saying that you won't be able to finish the roof. It'll just make issues when you get to the roof later. And I personally think it looks uglier this way because you can also sometimes see the piece sticking out the other end. Like you can't really see it right here because it's kind of flush. I mean, you kind of can see it right here with this one. You can see where the stone tile is visible through the stone wall. And I personally don't like that. That's just my own personal opinion though. And whenever I try to build a foundation, I try to build it so it's flush and it fits perfectly. I don't do it like this. If I started working and I realized I made a mistake like this right here, I would basically just destroy everything and restart until I fixed that mistake. I would not continue my building project with that mistake standing. Because I know it's going to cause problems down the road, and aside from it causing problems down the road, I just think it looks ugly. But that is really all there is that I can teach you during this video as far as setting up your foundation properly in Valheim. It's getting to be night, which means you'll get lower visibility, which I'd like to end the video here. If you guys have any additional comments, concerns, questions, anything like that, please feel free to leave a comment on this YouTube video. I will do my best to answer it. Depending on, you know, how busy I am in my personal life. Aside from that, if you guys have any additional questions, comments, concerns that were not addressed in this video, please check out the other Valheim building videos that I've created and the guides I've written on my website, which basically give you a text version of everything that I'm teaching with pictures to go along with it. Aside from that, though, that's all I have for you in this video, and I will catch you guys around in future Valheim videos. Peace.